Barry, could you walk us through the decision in that timeout to be able to go for the touchdown before the half and yeah, how that came about?
Well, I mean, as the offensive coordinator, it's our job to score touchdowns, and we're pretty close to scoring a touchdown, and we were starting with the ball in the second half, and I believed in our players, and I believed in what we had planned to get the ball in, and I believed in how we were playing, and so just voiced my opinion to coach, and we just kind of talked through it. The timeout obviously gave us the opportunity to kind of rethink it, and it turned out to be a good decision because our guys went and executed and did what they were supposed to do.
Barry, what can that do for you guys as an offense? I mean, that's a position you guys had struggled in recently. To have the confidence in you and Brett to go for it and succeed, what can ramifications can I have confidence?
Well, I think it should have a lot. It should have a lot of ramifications in a strong way for our team. And you know, we got put in the situation the week before and came up short, and really, you know, honestly, to a large degree, felt really good about the call and felt good about what we were about to do, and we just didn't quite get it done. And to go and to plan and practice with your coaches and to say, hey, here's what we're going to do, and here's how we believe we're going to punch the ball in a critical moment in the goal line. We felt like getting in the sidecar to have Luke's, opportunity to move and run, keep the balls is to our advantage, and and we executed the call perfectly, and rolled them off the ball and punched it in, and it was huge for the outcome of the game. What
was different just overall in the game with your run game execution, and what does that do for you as an offense and as a play caller when your run game's effective?
Well, yeah, I mean, it makes life better. It makes it flow better, when you're falling forward, and you're running the ball with some effectiveness, which we were. Had very few. I can't remember off the top of my head, but had very few lost yardage runs. Most of the things were moving forward, which was a testament to I think our line covering them up pretty well, and then our backs falling forward. And so, when you can run the ball and rely on getting 3 and 4 yards on early downs, when you want to hand the ball off, it makes things a lot easier. I thought, obviously, from a confidence standpoint, I mean, that was probably the best that we've run the ball, from a consistent basis, and something certainly to build off of.
You mentioned you knew you were going to get the ball back to start the second half. What can a successful kind of double dip there do for a team?
Well, I mean, obviously any Big Ten game, and those possessions are so, and just in football in general, possessions are so vital, and to be able to score touchdowns on back-to-back possessions, obviously was a huge. I mean, I don't know what the percentages are. Coach makes a big deal of it, and we do in our organization. But I would say, when you double dip with 2 touchdowns in football, your percentages of winning the game are probably through the roof, would be my guess. And I know they are. I just don't know what those numbers are, but it's a really strong indicator you're going to win the game if you can score right before halftime and then turn around and have 14 points put on the board for the other team touches the ball. It's a big deal.
What are some unique challenges against the Wisconsin defense this week?
I mean, they got really good players, and they have a really good scheme. They're like most of our Big Ten foes, are. They believe in what they do defensively, even though it's a new coaching staff and a new scheme. There's a lot of carryover from what they've done previous years in the personnel. They brought some new faces in as well, but they're a big, stout, strong defense that's playing very well. So there's a lot of challenges.
Brett has talked about, like, last year you guys lost a lot of voices in the locker room, but it would seem like Casey Washington's the guy who's finding his voice or has found it. I guess, what have you observed just from his ability in that regard?
Casey has really grown in that role for us, and it's been really impressive to watch. And our team really respects him. And then it even, obviously, it just cements it when he shows up the way he shows up. And we've got tons of faith in Casey. I think him and Luke have a great connection and rapport. I think Luke's got that with all 3 of those guys, that he feels comfortable with. But what he did in the game, what he did leading up to the game, and just the way he approached the week, the way he led our players, and then for him to make those 2 critical plays, the end to half, and without the end to half and end the game plays that he made, winning a one-on-one ball, the outcome could have been completely different. And for him it's really fun, it's really rewarding. I know for him, I know he wants to get in the end zone, and that's going to come. But just for him to lead and to have the intensity he had during the week, and for him to be that guy on Saturday, man, I think it just really solidified the way our team looks at him and as a leader and somebody they really respect.
How is Luke developing and his processing, his decision making, his going through progressions? How is he developing in that regard through the season?
Well, I think slowly and surely, steadily. You know, I mean, I tell you, obviously one thing that sticks out to me about him is the situation doesn't ever seem to be too big for him. You know, he's been in 2 or 3 of these moments now, well, 2 specifically that he's helped us win at the end of the game. You know, in a 2-minute drive, and I think so that speaks to his poise, his inner poise, and his inner belief in what he's doing and how he goes about doing it. And you know, inevitably, if you're making 35 or 40 decisions a game like you are playing quarterback for our system, you're going to make some decisions that you want back. Just like me as a play caller, I'm going to call it 80 plays or 70 plays. There's going to be inevitably a few that I want back. We're both trying to minimize what those are at the end of the day when you watch the film. And so, you know, like as we go into week 8 now, right, for him to play at the level that he's capable of playing at, like those 3 or 4 plays a game that, you know, we may not see a read or maybe skip through a read. We got to make those plays more consistently. But I love the way he's competing and what he's using with his legs and the way he's remaining poised under really tough circumstances. I mean, just like the last drive, I mean, the flip pass that he threw to who caught that one? Aiden. When he flipped it out to Aiden, you know, that's a big deal. I mean, it's a minute 35 or 45 seconds left in the game, and just threw a strike, made a great read, threw it out there. Our guys did a great job on the perimeter. We're in running mode, and he looks at me in between the series, and he was like, "Hey, let me read this," you know. So I let him read it, and sure enough, he pulled it, got 12 critical yards or 11, and could have been the difference in the game. You know, those kinds of things. It's been really fun to see him grow, because he knows what he wants, and this is a really long answer to a short question. I'm sorry, and I have a tendency to do that sometimes, but like he's on the verge of becoming, you know, really good. And those are the things that we've got to get tidied up. It's just like, you know, those few plays a game where it's like we got to make sure we're 100% on those reads and those movement keys.
Coach, seems like in the run game that you kind of simplified things a little bit up front. Now with the pass pro, is that something, pass pro schemes, is that something that you would look at and make an adjustment?
I don't think so. I mean, you know, we're pretty straightforward and simple within the schemes. I mean, we've got now, do we have to mitigate some of those? You know, the big thing that keeps showing up is when we get in 3rd and 6 to more. You know, that even in the course of the game the other day, we had 3 different protection schemes in those situations. You know, it wasn't just relying on one scheme. You know, we got maximum protection, we got double chips, we've got, you know, move the pocket protection. You know, like so. I think our menu is what our menu is. We just got to continue to get better at it and continue to we've got to make sure that we're staying away from those obvious passing situations, because we've just not been great in those, obviously. And so, but yeah, as far as the manipulation we did simplify the run scheme, but it was within the confines of what we already do and how we do it, just like the protection. We've already kind of manipulated some of those during the course of the year and tweaked them a little bit more. Always looking to see what we can do to put our guys in the best position, but like, I think the protection schemes are kind of what the protection schemes are right now. We've got to get better within those.
Coach, on the fourth down in the first half, how often during the week are you guys talking about that kind of situation, and how's that whole conversation go?
Sure. Well, Coach does a great job of making us really think forward on, you know, those types of situations. I mean, situational football is something that we hang our hat on here, talk about it a lot, and as coaches, you know, we put a lot of time into having some forward thinking about what those situations are. Then on Friday night, the coordinators meet with Coach, and you know, we go through those scenarios. What could happen? What's going to be your 4th and 1 call? You know, what are you going to do here if it's end of game and it's 3rd and 15? You know, like Coach really makes you think about things that are unique to the game that only matter when they matter. And so when we got down in that situation, we had already vetted, you know, what we wanted to call, what we believed in. We had a run call, we had a check run. We had 2 different runs in the call, and they gave us a look to check the other run, and we checked it at the line. I don't know if you guys noticed that or not, but it was a check, and we just stayed with what we believed in and executed it. And that's That's what football teams do that win games, and we did that.
Barry, I think I counted on Saturday 30 times. You guys, the person who touched the football, Barry who touched the football, the center, quarterback, whatever skill guy, was none of them were over 20 years old. And I'm just curious, when you watch the film, you notice that? Like, is there something about the youth movement that you coach differently a little bit? Just have to keep in the back of your mind when you have this much youth out there?
You know, this point in the season, I mean, I think we kind of talked about that last week a little bit. I think I don't really necessarily see it through that lens, you know, because I felt like our guys were prepared to go play the game plan, no matter what, you know, what experience level they were, and I think that showed. I think Thad had those young backs really prepared, and that showed during the game. I mean, the protection, Aiden Laughley on the first touchdown pass, tracking the backer and protecting Caden running a check down on all go and the 2-minute drive and making 10 yards, a subtle play that not many people pay attention to, but that was an awesome release by him and check down. Like, as a veteran, they played like veterans to a large degree, and I felt that in practice and their preparation. Now, when you step back and look at it from your question, your perspective, it's pretty impressive for them to do what they did, you know. But you're talking about the battery with Kreutz and with Luke and, you know, with those young guys, and that's, you know, whether you're young or old, it's this time of year, you're not new anymore. You know, you're going into week 8, you're not a newcomer anymore. And I thought all of those guys handled themselves like veterans, and Saturday, it's one of the reasons we won the game.
What stood out about Caden and Aiden and how they handled that moment in that game?
What about them?
What stood out about them?
I mean, just they fell forward, you know. I mean, obviously Caden did, and even Aiden was running and falling forward. I mean, that catch he made at the end of the game was huge, and the way he fell forward and fought for those extra yards with ball security, the way he protected the passer. I mean, they played, you know, they played like seasoned players that was not their first time when they went in the game knowing I'm the main attraction. You know, I'm not the understudy anymore. I'm the main attraction, and I'm going to be carrying the load of the game, both, you know, metaphorically and physically. You know, and man, they just did a great job. And our team rallied around them. I really believe that.
Gary, you mentioned falling forward like 3 times.
Yeah.
Is there something emotional about, well, that got stuffed, and then you look up the scoreboard and it's 2nd and 8 instead of 2nd and 10 or 2nd and 11?
Well, I mean, yeah, I think our team felt that. You know, I mean, I think Maryland felt that a little bit to some degree. You know, and I don't mean that in any way that it sounds like. I mean, I think they felt a back that was hard to get down, and was leaning on them, and was, to your point, at contact. Now, and to your point, instead of being 2nd and 10, it was 2nd and 7. And all of our backs have run hard this year. I mean, Reggie, when he was in there, and Josh, those guys have all fallen forward. And obviously, Caden, being the stature that he is, you would expect him to run forward and fall forward. But he did it, you know. I mean, he did it, and he's got to continue to do that and continue to trust his reads. And I thought it was impressive that Aiden, I think that's a reflection of the way Thad's coaching them and their grit and toughness as backs, as a unit. And so we always want them, you know, that's always a good thing when you're pushing the line. You can't fall forward if you're not pushing the line a little bit. And our guys up front did a nice job of that on Saturday.
Coach, how does the early down success impact your play calling? And it seems like you were able to take a few more deep shots because of it.
Yeah. I mean, we want to be balanced, and I think we fell into a really good balance the other day during the course of the game, because I had confidence in and the way the game was unfolding, and both what I was going to run, you know, quick pass or take a shot, or early down run. I felt like our guys really understood the plan and had executed during practice, and that showed up during the game. That we weren't perfect. I mean, we had some, you know, those guys are on scholarship too and got good coaches, and they made good plays and adjustments. But I could tell our guys were very in tune with what we were doing and very comfortable. So, and I think that helped me get in my flow better, and I think that all made for a better performance.
Pat with 2 long touchdowns each of the last 2 weeks. What's that tell you about him and the connection with Luke to bounce back after a tough moment at Purdue and deliver in each of those last 2 games?
Yeah, it's football. I mean, you're going to make mistakes, or, you know, things, or you're going to think, man, I wish I would have had this catch or this throw a little bit better. And one thing about, I think, listen, I can't tell you how impressed I was with just our team. You know, obviously, as an offense, defense, and special teams, the way we fought. When our backs were against the wall, and they continue to be against the wall. You know, that's the thing, that's the mentality. But like, just offensively, you know, to speak on that, like our guys didn't flinch or didn't waver, even though things had not gone the way that, you know, a well-documented way, we're all well aware it hadn't gone great at times, and for them to not flinch and to go in, I think it's just, Pat's kind of a microcosm of that, you know, like, he just keeps fighting, he keeps coming every day to work, and he's tough and gritty. He believes in his team, he believes in his teammates, he believes in his quarterback, they believe in each other. You know, we got a lot of belief in the building, and that showed up on Saturday. That was really validating, I think, for them, for him, for us. That was a good moment for, and kind of a microcosm of you know, our organization offensively.
On the touchdown to Isaiah, how often do you rep, I don't want to say a broken play like that, what, the quarterback keeping his eyes forward, or the receiver kind of playing back to the quarterback? I know that you try to blow it dead once the play kind of gets wonky in practice, but how often do you kind of rehearse that?
Well, we do stress playing through the whistle and having game day reactions in practice. Now the route structure on that particular route was Isaiah coming back underneath naturally, like he was running a return route, and so Luke stepping up in the pocket, the cup was really nice, the protection was good. Luke kept his eyes downfield, popped him in the little spot, then where his read tells him to take it, and Isaiah split him, which was great to get him in the end zone. That was long overdue for him, and the impact he has on us offensively to get in there. We got to have more of that, you know, with him and the other guys on the perimeter as well. But yeah, I think that's a reflection of, you know, like we try to, especially with Luke. I mean, you know, Luke's going to leave the pocket some. I mean, he's going to use his legs, and you don't want to say no on that. And sometimes he shouldn't leave, but then other times he leaves and he gets a 26-yard gain, you know. And so our receivers have learned to, I think, play and anticipate when he's in practice or in game, you know, like you got to be ready to react to some scramble rules, and we've made a fair amount of plays doing that this year, and that was a critical one, obviously, on third down there.
Thanks, guys.